Hi, my name is Laura Showa. Before I get started, since this is going on the internet, I just kind of want to briefly say that this video is being made strictly for a class assignment, so any companies and bids in this assignment are completely made up. Nothing is actually true. So, without further ado, I'm going to get started. So, like I stated, my name is Laura and I am a representative for the Furniture Supply Specialists. We are a company that specializes in making furniture anywhere from desks, chairs, tables. We are currently located in Des Moines, Iowa in the United States. We manufacture furniture for companies all throughout the United States and additionally worldwide. Recently, we have experienced significant backlog for our orders as people have become more aware of our products and our service and quality is excellent, and people are becoming aware of that. So as a result, our backlog is significantly more large than we can handle here in the Iowa office. So as a result, the last couple months we have been looking to expand our operations. We're looking to create additional subsidiaries to help us with our backlog. Preferably, we would like these offices to be international from the United States because, like I stated before, we do manufacture product and ship throughout the world. So being located in different countries will allow us not only to decrease our backlog in general, but it will allow us to get our product to our customer faster, because right now our backlog is weeks in, and we would like to decrease that. So after hearing about a bid from a large company, we are specifically looking at 3 various locations. And those locations are Italy, Hong Kong, and Canada. Now this bid that I just referred to is from Google. Google has offices all throughout the world. They are specifically looking at upgrading their employees' desks in the Google Hong Kong, Google Italy, and Google Canada offices. So after hearing about this bid and the opportunity that this could present for our company, we have decided to specifically look at those various countries for our subsidiary plans. Now, we have looked at research and looked at areas that we sell our product to, and we sell a lot of product to Europe and Asia, so these locations are advantageous to us, and they're not only, and will be in the long run, so it's not just based on specifically this bid as to why we have chosen these locations. However, this bid could be huge for our company because, as you're well aware, Google is a very large company. They have offices all throughout the world, and they have told us that if they are satisfied with their product, with their service that they receive from us, they are looking at upgrading their employee desks at various other locations as to kind of go in their new mold. They want all their offices kind of have the Google mindset, and they are hoping that we can design a desk specifically for them and fit into that mindset. So through working with them, we've chosen those locations, and we have determined that if we are successful with this bid with Google, that these locations will be sufficient enough also to help with their other locations around the world. So that's why these locations, we are overall satisfied with the bid and the locations through the research that we have done. And also we are looking to hopefully continue working with Google in the future, subsequent to the winning of this bid. Now, we have chosen to use a workforce that uses local people and people from the Des Moines office. We will send people from our current office to the subsidiary locations as they know our product very well, to kind of help our new employees that we'll be hiring in Canada, Hong Kong, and Italy become accustomed to what our products are. We have certain quality standards that we want to meet. However, we are not sending our people to these offices to take all the management positions, the high positions away from the local people. That is absolutely not our goal, because in order to start our subsidiaries out on the right foot, we believe that overall, we want our company to have a global-centric mindset. Now, that is ultimately the end goal, but being realistic, I kind of think it's, for any company in general, not just our company, it's really hard to have that mindset just right out the door. It takes a lot of work. So ultimately, we'll probably start with a more polycentric mindset. And according to Robert Morin, a polycentric mindset places high importance on having local managers who know how to do business in other nations. Where it falls short to integrate learning between subsidiaries or between its subsidiaries and home market best practices, it would assume that anything learned about one foreign market would not apply to any other foreign market. Learning would be local, but apply only within each subsidiary locations. That's kind of why I feel like more companies start out there, because you're trying to learn, you just get to Italy. You're trying to learn about how they do business in Italy, and it's hard to pay attention to what they're doing in Canada, what they're doing in Hong Kong, and trying to apply those principles from the Des Moines, Iowa office. So ideally, we'll probably start out there. That is definitely not our end goal. Our end goal, like I said, is a geocentric mindset. And so on the other hand, having a geocentric mindset is to integrate both headquarters and subsidiary learning in order to find the best practices for each, and also to identify where practices and products developed in one worldwide location can be applied or adapted to other locations. Its ultimate goal is to create an integrated worldwide strategy enacted by the worldwide integrated capabilities of both headquarters and all subsidiaries. This is the end goal, however, it is difficult to achieve immediately, like I have stated before. It's something that we'll put at the forefront of our minds, something that we'll have strategic development plans in place to kind of keep our employees thinking about our other locations, our headquarters, and kind of everyone trying to work together versus working locally. As such, we have some examples of how we will integrate our workforce to become as successful as we possibly can on the onset. So first off, our overall strategy. We ideally would like to be globally and locally responsive. It's important to acknowledge our other locations and all kind of try to respond and work together. For decision-making authority, we would like it to be collaborative between headquarters and subsidiaries. The headquarters, while the president is in Des Moines, Iowa, it's not they have final say in every decision. We would like the locations to kind of be responsible for themselves, and however we need to all work together. So we're not trying to, the Iowa office is not trying to dictate all the other offices. However, we do need to keep in mind that we are all part of the same company. Organizational control. Headquarters and subsidiaries will collaborate to find universal and locally applied standards. I kind of stated this before, but we have our procedures and processes for how we do things here at headquarters. Now, some of those things may work in Italy. Those same things may not work in Hong Kong, and vice versa. It all depends on the location. Each location, everyone has different values, beliefs, traditions. We'll have to kind of work that out as we go along. For communication and information flow, it's important that it flows both ways between the subsidiaries and managers of the top management teams. And then finally, for recruiting, staffing, and development, we will develop local people everywhere for key positions everywhere. We are not going to be biased toward any specific location. I feel like it's important to find the people that can best serve the company, best fit the company, and if one of them is located in Canada, that's great. Not everybody is going to be located here at the Iowa office for those positions. Now, what will our company do to ensure that we can become effective in these other countries? I think it's no secret that there's a similarity attraction between people in the workplace. Essentially, that's the tendency for people to almost prefer to work with and accept those that are similar to them with their traditions, values, and beliefs. And so the more diverse you make in a company, there can be conflict, and while it's not ideal, it's the reality of things, and it's important to recognize that fact. So in order to assure that any local workers are able to work effectively within our company, we will follow Bartlett and Goschel's coordination mechanisms to integrate diverse teams effectively, as workers from the U.S. will be transferred to other subsidiary locations and vice versa, if wherever we deem people fit the best. The first step is to legitimize perspectives by creating balance. According to Robert Morin, this requires building legitimacy of the underrepresented lower status groups, providing access, so managers representing the underrepresented perspectives, they need to be seen as supporting and supported by the company's objectives, and ensuring influence, meaning managers of the underrepresented group need organizational clout. The second coordination mechanism from Bartlett and Goschel is information coordination, and that's the need to use that's the need to use informal and formal means to gather information. Now, it's not always ideal to gather information in meetings. A lot of information, maybe the most important information, will be gained in informal situations, so it's important to recognize both. The third coordination mechanism is shared vision. This is intended to motivate all international managers to cooperate, share information, listen to others' contributions, and use all information available in decision making. Genuine commitment to these goals is achieved by creating genuine independence between managers at the headquarters, the subsidiaries, the various the manufacturer workers, finance, sales, etc. Another form of integration that will be important to us is to provide diversity training. It kind of seems self-explanatory, but I feel like it gets overlooked a lot. Next is to include a relocation program. Because of culture shock, and now we will use kind of the 4 steps outlined by Robert Morin, his 4-stage process. And the first stage is personnel and program assessment. The second stage is personnel orientation and training. The third stage is support service, which is on-site support and monitoring. Basically, we're not just going to put somebody in a different country and kind of forget about them. And then the fourth stage is a re-entry program. So it's important to recognize, just like there's culture shock when somebody goes to a different country, there's also re-entry shock. So if somebody lives in another country for months, years, they get kind of accustomed to the way that that country does business. It can be just as frustrating for that person to come back to their old job where they lived for 20 years, let's say, as it was for them to go to another country and live for a year. So it's very important to recognize that there is not only culture shock, but re-entry shock, and we'll keep that at the forefront of our mind as well. It's important to be aware of business etiquette and protocol abroad. Each country has different ways of doing things. Also, it's important to understand the national character, management philosophies, and mindsets of people. Dr. Gert Hofstede has identified dimensions of national character. His kind of 4 original ones were power distance, uncertainty avoidance, individualism, and masculinity. Now, I'm not going to go into detail here about the scores that each Italy, Hong Kong, and Canada got on them, because it would be kind of time consuming. But basically the scores, based on the traditions and the way of life in those countries, kind of determines what the score is for each of those different areas, and it will affect how business is done in those areas. So it's definitely important to be aware of his scores for each of these countries. And lastly, for communication. Communication's big. Obviously, there's going to be language barriers that we'll have to get through, but in addition to language barriers isn't the only thing. There's also such thing as low context versus high context cultures. According to Edward T. Hall, the person who coined low versus high context cultures, a low context culture is a culture that communicates information in a direct manner that relies mainly on words. Low context cultures do not rely on contextual elements to communicate information. Canada is low, the US is low, Italy is high, and Hong Kong is high. Basically, Italy and Hong Kong assume that the person has background information. They don't need to explain everything whereas in the United States